Welcome to Community Service Spotlight. I'm your host, Bud Qualk, and we've got an unusual show for you today. We've got a gentleman here that's a retirement life coach. And in my day job, I've got a lot of retired customers and a lot of customers getting ready to retire. So I'm as anxious as you are to see what he's got to say. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've got Bob Coulson here today, retirement life coach. How long have you been a retirement life coach, Bob?
I think I've been doing it my whole life. I've studied retirement forever, and I've actually retired 3 different times.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this.
Well, first I want to thank you for having me here today with the Service Community Spotlight and have an opportunity to talk about what a retirement life coach is.
Well, we're excited to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. You know, that's something you hear about every day, retirement, retirement, retirement. You're bombarded with that in the media. Retirement life coaches have been relatively new, but what they do is they really try to help you plan what are your bonus years of longevity. The average senior today, age 65, is going to live almost 20 years, up into their 80s.
I'm going to live 40. Nobody's dying. We're all going to live. That's the people I talk to. They say, I'll do that next time. I've got plenty of time. I'm going to live for quite a while. You know how that goes. Yeah.
Well, they probably do, and a lot of times they're focused strictly on the financial piece.
Right.
Retirement life coach is looking at 360 degrees. What are all the non-financial aspects of retirement as well? A lot of people underestimate what that looks like. It's a major change in their life, and it's going to go over 20 to 30 years. So 2 areas that I'm specialized in, I'm a retirement options certified life coach, and I'm also a saging leader.
Oh, saging.
Saging leader.
Saging, okay. You got me. What's saging?
Well, saging is a process that we do. It's a new process of the way we go about aging, and we think about aging differently. And the process involves, first of all, a life review, and then a life repair, and then life legacy or reframing. So what we do is we go through a process of looking at our lives since we were born, all the way back, and what was the wisdom that we harvested from those life experiences. So like I have 63 years of life experience.
You're not 63.
I am 63 years
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
of life experience. And that's how we frame that in a positive way. We look at things like what is ageism in today's culture. We look at what are the positives and negatives that were in our lifetime. We look at, in the life repair, what are areas that we might want to ask for forgiveness of ourselves or for others.
Mentally repaired, that's what you're talking about.
Yes, emotional repair. And then we get more intentional about what is the legacy that we want to live. When we were young people in childhood, we basically got up to about age 25, our role and our task was to basically learn our way in the world. And that was our role and task. And then in adulthood, probably from about 25 to about 60, our role was, raise a career, raise a family. Mm-hmm. And then what happens probably 60-ish on is what we would call elderhood. We start becoming an elder. Usually retirement is the trigger that starts us down that path.
Elderhood, that's a new word too. I'm learning a lot of new words today.
Elderhood, yes, and there's actually developmental tasks that we have to accomplish during that time period. And when we have, no longer we are retired this or retired that, what are we actually becoming? And who are we now? What's our identity? And that's what saging is about, going through that process of discovery.
Sounds like a lot of it's mental. And I know a little bit about that because I tried to retire a few years back and it was way too early. But I was I wasn't forced into it, but I was so I retired, and it took about 2 days, and it jolted me into what retirement was going to be. You know, I said, I've got all these hobbies. When I retire, I'll be so busy, and I won't affect. But it really did. And I'm kind of stealing maybe your thunder. I hope maybe not. Your identity. My identity was gone.
That's right.
I no longer was vice president with the bank. I was just a regular guy out on the street. Nobody knew who I was. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It was a real shock. But go ahead.
And that's the first part, really, when you start thinking about that. But you know what? Same thing happened to me. I actually retired from 3 different careers in my lifetime, and each time it was kind of like getting a divorce. I had some benefits. I had a status, but when I left that career, those are gone. My socialization network's gone. Even if I didn't like everybody, my identity's gone. My role is gone. Some financial things are gone, that financial stability.
That's a big one.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
But if you plan, once you have that plan, and that's what I see today. A lot of people have planned for the financial piece, but they haven't planned for the rest of it. And the rest of it, there's a lot to it. So as a retirement option certified coach, we have 2 assessment tools. And we use those tools to look at, first of all, your lifestyle. And the other tool is really about your attitude about aging, about retiring, about what you're going to do. And that, because so many people have bought into the traditional paradigm of retirement, it's all about, I'm going to do leisure.
Sit on the porch and rock in a rocking chair and drink lemonade. Is that
Well, typically it'll be, I'm going to do golf, I'm going to do fishing, I'm going to, play cards. I actually lived in a retirement community for active older adults, is how it was built, for 10 years. 55 and over. I actually lived there for 10 years, and I got to see firsthand different people and what they were doing when they were retired.
How they handled it, too.
And a lot of times, well, they're right there. They're your neighbors in the condos.
Yeah.
So there's no mystery to it. But there's tons of leisure activity, which is part of the traditional retirement. But we have what's called a new retirement, where work is still part of your future. It may be in volunteer work. It may be in different part-time, but it's okay to work if you want to. It may be okay to start a business. But we look at all those factors because a lot of people haven't thought, well, gee, I never thought I was going to be grandparenting my grandchildren. I'm actually going to parent my grandchildren.
Yeah, that happens too, yeah.
It happens a lot. I have an older parent I have to take care of. Oh, I didn't think about that. One thing they didn't tell me is I was actually going to get older, and I was going to have aches and pains, maybe chronic, some kind of health issue.
Yeah.
I didn't really explore the attitude I have about getting older. Those are some of the things we look at. Do I want to move? Do I want to travel? If I want to move, where am I going to move to? Those are factors that we look at when we do those assessments, and we help people get a plan for that. The financial piece, we don't focus that totally on that. We always make sure that a certified financial planner is involved with that. But we do is look at all the other factors. Because when you retire, you have a couple of things that work used to provide you. Number one was some form of financial stability, some money, et cetera. A lot of people have that taken care of when they decide they're going to retire, and some don't.
50%, the number I go by, that has 0 when they retire. 50% in the United States.
Absolutely.
That's hard to believe. Yeah.
Absolutely. When people, if you look at the retirement data, it's pretty scary what's out there. Not meant to scare people here today as much as it's time to prepare. It's never too late to keep planning and preparing and to really understand. Today we have a great deal more of financial calculators, et cetera, and tools that are available than people did 20 years ago, particularly with the things about pension and Social Security, those worries. But that's one piece. The other piece is your identity. Who are you now? Who are you now?
Yeah.
And you have a lot of worth, you have a lot of value. I had a great story from a fellow in the saging class. And I said, bring in images of aging and what that looks like. And he brought an index card in. And in the index card, he had a brand new, freshly minted penny. And he had taped on there. And then the next penny, it looks like it's been beat up a little bit. It looks like it's been in circulation for a while. He had that taped on there. And then the last penny, you almost didn't recognize it as a penny. It's one of those you find out in the parking lot, you know.
Yeah.
And he had that taped on there. And I said, well, so what does this mean? And he said, well, he said, this is brand new. This one's been used a lot. And this one's really been through a lot. But they're all of the same value. They're worth a penny.
I'll be darned. I wasn't.
Just like our lives.
Yeah.
There's still value.
Yeah.
And so that's what elderhood's about. Who are you now? Who are you becoming? And what is your legacy you're leaving to the next generation? So we look at all kinds of things. In retirement, a lot of times people say, well, I'm just going to retire and everything's going to be great. I had one client, and that client said, I'm just going to do softball. Now, that person worked, and a very high position, and has done all the savings that needed to be done, and he traveled a lot, so definitely doesn't want to travel anymore. And so I said, well, what are you envisioning that you're going to do? And he said, I'm going to play softball, and I'm going to coach softball. And I said, great. You'll be about 60 years of age at the time. So you have that, and that's called leisure, and that's what we look at. Leisure is part of it, but that's not 40 hours a week, whatever your leisure is.
Yeah.
And it's also something you probably cannot do when you're 85 on. You might be able to, but it might be in a different role. And so we talked about all the time that you're away, how's things with the marriage? Because in your assessment, it says it's okay. How's things with your family? Well, I didn't get to see my family enough. Okay. What about your socialization network? Well, I have lots of friends. Are they work friends? Yes. What about other friends?
Yeah.
You travel a lot. You weren't working all the time. He said, I never thought about all that. I said, well, you're a good 2 years out. Here's some things you can think about. How do you want to do some adequate planning around that? Because in those assessments, we see what comes out as a strength, what comes out as adequate planning, and then what's a focus area or focus factor. And with that, people have a chance to kind of do some more planning and use the strengths, the things that cause them to have a strength, to do more planning. And we kind of coach that. It's basically having that conversation with a neighbor that knows a little something about retirement.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about.
Well, let me add a couple of things here, and you
Okay.
tell me that's not. When I retired, I thought, well, I'll spend a lot of time with my family.
That's right.
And guess what? They've got their own lives, and they can spend some time with you, and you can spend more than you maybe had before, but they got their own lives, so you can't spend 8 hours a day with your family.
That's right.
Kids or relatives or whoever, because they're working or they're out doing something else. And I'm sure some people, if they live very far away, they're not going to spend a whole lot of time with it, so they got all that extra time. That's one thing I saw when I retired. And then the other one was my friends, they're older now. Many of them have illnesses and things where they're not capable of socializing much anymore. And I'm sure the older you get, the worse that's going to happen. And go along with that, I've got customers that live in assisted livings or retirement homes, and they don't have a single family member left. They are it. There's no family. And I know at least one instance where this one person has no friends. He's living in a retirement home with no friends and no family. Doesn't have anybody. And so I can see sometimes somebody says, well, I've lived my life, I'm ready to go. Because do you ever run into that? I'm ready to go. I don't have anybody left. I don't enjoy life anymore.
I run into that all the time. Currently what I do is I'm a volunteer chaplain at Baptist Hospital.
Hey.
I'm also a volunteer chaplain with the Seamen's Church, Mariners, here in the river industry. And then also a chaplain with the Kentucky Community Crisis Response Team. And I have actually heard from different folks each time, I'm done, I'm ready to go home, I'm done with life, and I don't have anybody here.
Right.
Fortunately, there are a couple things that I would say about that. One is technology. It's a challenge at times, but you now have, and I use that with some of my clients, Zoom, which is very clear, video conferencing, Google talk to my brother every Saturday. You have FaceTime. You have these technologies, and I would encourage people to always keep up with those. Not because, one, because you can stay in contact with people around the clock, your kids, your grandkids, your friends. You can also make more new friends. Out there they have, I track this all the time. I'm a member of a group called Elder Orphans. Elder Orphans. And those people reach out, it's a Facebook group. And they are exactly in that situation. They don't have any friends, and they'll put out when they feel lonely. And loneliness is actually an epidemic in our senior community.
Along with depression and all that, yeah.
Another one is 70 Candles. It's for ladies who are living past their 70th birthday. And that's another support group. So the technologies there can help us reach out and still be part of a vital group. But I would also encourage people to look into what groups can they continue to learn and be part of. So for example, as a saging leader, I'm part of Saging International. They can locate that on the web, www.saging.org. They have webinars that they can stay up with. There's different groups that they can belong to. So they keep learning and they keep involved and connected.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people I bet don't know about those things.
Well, they don't. They have to search them out.
Yeah.
And then
call you, of course, yeah.
Or call me.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today to talk about those.
Yeah.
Because those support groups are crucial, especially when you're trying to connect with a family. Like I have all 4 of my adult daughters. They're spread all over the place. When it came time to retire, we said, where are we going to retire? Because they're all moving around, earning their career, performing their role. Once the grandkids now are in school, so traveling's not as much.
Yeah.
And so what we call is, and it's important to know, probably from about 60 to 75 is the go-go years. That's when you still have abilities to go, maybe even if you have some chronic health issues. From about 75 up to about 85 is what we call the slow-go years. You don't go quite as much. You may not be traveling quite as much. And then finally, about 85 on up, it might be the no-go years. And so people can adapt to that and know that there's people out there who want to connect with them.
Yeah.
But they got a plan.
All that sounds more and more familiar. But I'm really like the idea of those 70 Candles or whatever, and those other groups that you can get involved with. I've got a gentleman, but I think he's 86, so I think technology is going to be really hard for him. So I don't think he's not going to be able to do that. That's the one that I said didn't have any friends, didn't have any family, all by himself. Sits at a table at lunch and dinner at the home, all by himself. It's hard.
Well, I try to do saging groups. We do a saging group, and I would encourage people to do it because we call them wisdom circles, and that would encourage people in nursing homes, et cetera, to come together and actually share time together and share their lives experience. Mm-hmm. And I think starting a wisdom circle here in the community is one of my goals that I hope to accomplish. And when that happens, people interact more. And they get a chance to review their life, and then they say, well, what do I want to do? And for his situation, because in my group now I have several 80-year-olds. One's at 282, one's like 83. And they come and they want to hear about that, and then they think about, well, maybe I should do a video to pass on to my grandchildren and my children's children. Uh-huh. So I'm not just looked up in some genealogy file, but I was actually a person, and this is what I believed in, these were my values, and these are what I'm passing on.
Well, I've started something like that on my computer, the different parts of my life, and I'm commenting on when I lived here, this is what I did. When I lived over here, this is what I did. To someday, my son doesn't know I'm doing this, but someday, hopefully that'll be there for him. This show, and I do another show too, he'll be able to turn on YouTube and see me talking like we're talking right
That's
here.
right.
So I've got a really big advantage doing that. But everybody's life is is usually interesting. If you could find out what they did, where they were, and what all they went through. You see the obituaries in the paper, and it says, was Baptist religion, survivors are. I'd like to see them put more in there. Back in the old days, they kind of gave a little bibliography was in the obituary. They don't do that very often anymore. Some do. Somebody that has have done a lot and maybe has some money, they'll take a big space. But most of them are just nothing there. So.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because not only in saging do we do ethical wills about passing our values on, we also write our own obituary.
I think that's a great idea.
And we write it in such a way that it's life-giving, celebrating, and typically not the standard obituary that you see in the paper.
Yeah, that's so sad. I guess it's free. That's why most people do that. I guess you got to pay a little extra to get a half a page or something.
I think part of that is people just haven't done what we call the inner work in saging to get that out and say, this is what's important. This is what I want people to know.
Yeah.
And so usually as a chaplain, as a pastor, I would collect information when somebody has passed. I would collect information about them, but it was very scant information. Usually the best information's in a eulogy, and they're telling funny stories.
Yeah.
And the person would have just really enjoyed hearing about that in their life.
Yeah. And I thought about I haven't written my obituary, but I've thought about it, because I'm the only one that knows it.
That's right.
My son doesn't know a lot of it. My wife knows some of it maybe, and she's forgot about it, but it's like me writing her obituary. I'm sure there's some things in there that I would miss or forget, and you may have inspired me to go ahead and do mine.
What I would encourage you to think about is go on to Franklin Covey. He has a generator for your mission statement, your personal life mission statement. And he has examples on there. But it's basically a personal mission statement builder. And you put input, they'll ask you questions, you put inputs in, it doesn't cost anything. You put your inputs in there, and then it gives you a sheet about who you are and what you're about. And then you can take that and you can massage it any way you want.
And what was that again? Tell me what that is.
It's called Franklin Covey.
Franklin Covey.
Personal Mission Builder.
And that's what you type in on the Google or?
Google that, and you should be able to pull that website up on the Franklin Covey website. He's the fellow that did 7 Habits of Effective Leaders and Managers.
Franklin Covey. Write it down.
Franklin Covey, Personal Mission Statement Builder.
Okay.
And it has the questions, and it doesn't cost anything. You put those in, and then it will give you a composite. And you can take a copy and paste that into a Word document.
Yeah. Okay.
And massage it.
Franklin, I think I got that. Okay. Now, I've kind of interrupted you a bunch of times, and I may have got you out of your sequence of what you wanted to convey to our viewers today. We haven't. One thing we haven't done, and we usually do this at the first of the show.
Okay.
And you got me so wrapped up in what you were talking about, we forgot about it. Excuse me again. Is your contact information. We usually do it at the first of the show and at the end of the show.
Okay.
So let's do it right now, and then we'll do it again right at the end of the show. How do people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you more about this?
Absolutely. The easiest way to do that, my phone number, even though it's a 303 number, it's local, it shouldn't cost anything.
Yeah.
It's my cell phone, and you can call or voicemail text 303-517-1137. 303-517-1137.
Okay, go get your pencil and ink pen, and so you can write this down. We're going to give it again right in just a few minutes, right before the show's over.
Okay, this is a little bit long, but it's Retirement Life Coach LLC @gmail.com.
Well, that's easy. Retirement Life Coach LLC
@gmail.com.
I can even remember that one, I think.
You can also go to my website, www.retirementlifecoachllc.com.
Okay. Well, we're going to pretend that we did that at the first of the show, and we'll do it again here in just a couple minutes. Okay. So get your pencil and paper ready to go out there. Do you have a waiting list? Do you work with people, right?
I do.
What we've been talking about. Do you have a waiting list? Does somebody they contact you? They're going to get on a waiting list, or
no?
No.
I don't really believe in waiting lists. My time is my own.
Yeah.
I don't have a day job to have to worry about. So basically I will schedule, but I'll schedule you, like if you have a group, I do groups, couples, and individuals. And usually it's at your venue, because people, it could be a corporation or a church or a business that everybody wants to hear about retirement or saging. Or, like as I said before, video conferencing. I'll schedule those. You just contact me with those numbers or email that I gave you, or through my website, and I will schedule that. Currently, I do a saging class at the McCracken County Extension Office on Mondays from 10:30 until 12. Anybody's welcome. All drop-ins are welcome.
Okay, 10:30 to 12, where again?
McCracken County Extension Office.
Okay, that's a new one, not the old one.
That's the
out
new
there
one.
By Brookdale, yeah.
I
And
don't-
the golf course. Yeah.
It is a beautiful facility.
Oh, it is.
So we meet there, like I said, 10:30 to 12 on Mondays. And if you email me or call me and let me know that you're going to come, that'd be great. Otherwise, just drop in.
Okay, Denise Woolley, is she involved with?
Absolutely.
I figured she would be. She's the homemakers and some other things she does out there.
And one of the things that was on their thing was embracing life as we age.
Yeah.
And so I initially contacted Denise and said, hey, I have the perfect tool here for that. Because it's called From Aging to Saging is the book
Yeah.
by Reb Zalman. He's the one that basically put this together, the saging concept.
Okay, we're almost out of time, so let's give your
Okay.
contact information again.
Okay, phone number is 303-517-1137.
Okay.
Email is retirementlifecoachllc@gmail.com.
Retirement Life Coach LLC. That's easy. Yeah.
@gmail.com.
Yeah.
But it also is almost the same thing, www.retirementlifecoachllc.com is the website.
Okay.
And on there you can contact me through email.
Or you
as
can
well.
contact me if you forget it. But I hope you wrote it down. But I want to thank you for coming today, Bob.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and I've learned so much today. Many times I learned some things, but I learned a lot today, a lot of new words even. And we want to thank our viewers for staying tuned. I'm your host, Bud Qualk. This is Community Service Spotlight, and we'll see you next time.